everyone, and welcome back to Tea Time Chats, Kent Online's brand new Instagram live show. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Mr Dix, and you might remember him from lockdown. He became very popular throughout the lockdowns that we had, and he was cooking and helping kids get involved in the kitchen when they couldn't go to school. So he will be with us very shortly. So my name is Megan and I'll be your host today. We'll be here every Wednesday at 6:30 with influencers and people across Kent. And today we're actually having a very special episode where Mr Dix, a cooking teacher from Dartford, will be joining us and actually cooking us something as well. So I think he's coming any second now. Questions, anything like that, do get in touch, leave a comment below, and I'm sure Mr Dix will be able to answer any questions you have. And there he is.
Hello,
how are you?
I'm good. That's a bit
Good
of sound
stuff.
up.
Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us today. I see that you're already in the kitchen.
I am.
So if you maybe want to start by introducing yourself and just telling us what you're going to do today.
Sure, okay, so I'm Jonathan Dix and I work at Dartford Science Technology College in Dartford, obviously, and I'm a food teacher here, and I'm also head of Year 7 and Year 8 as well. What we do, actually, I've kind of half made it already because it's like, you've only got quite a short time, haven't we, and we can't put a cake in the oven, etc. But what I thought, literally I was going to really quickly wave at you, is there's loads of pumpkins around. Obviously you had Halloween, and what I've made is a pumpkin Halloween cake. Lots of nice spices in there. Yeah, so it's kind of dead simple. Now, as a little bit of a ploy to get people to look at my YouTube channel, is that I've actually done a little video, and a bit later, probably today or tomorrow, I will put the video onto Cooking Mr Dix with all the steps and all the ingredients and everything else.
Perfect. I mean, you kind of got into cooking, well, you've always been a cooking teacher for quite a while, but you kind of got involved with the online side of things because of the lockdown, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've been a food teacher for a long time now. I trained as a chef before I trained as a teacher. And in lockdown, also in the first one, it's very difficult. You know, for me as an ex-chef, I want to teach the students how to cook and how to cook really well. And to do that, you can't. It's very difficult to do that across, you know, sending worksheets and things. You've got to do it kind of live or as much as you can. So what I decided is that I would do some cook-alongs and create a YouTube channel to kind of cook some of the recipes that we would do in class normally, and put them out there so that the students could cook them at home, and they'd send me pictures of what they did. And then it's kind of slightly evolved because we actually did then start some live cook-alongs as well, and it just expanded.
Amazing. And what's it kind of been like since kids have been able to come back? Do you think the online sessions have helped? Has their cooking got any better?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's been really nice is that not just my students at DSTC have done it, but students from primary schools around the country have done it. We had some people from America join one cooking session as well, which was amazing. But yeah, it's been great, and you know, we've had lots of really positive comments as well, because let's be honest, lockdown could be quite boring and you were very restricted, but lots of people did get back in the kitchen, and as we all know, there were massive shortages of flour and all these kind of things, and people went like baking and cooking mad, which is amazing. And that is, you know, there is a positive thing of COVID. That is one of the positives, that people actually got into the kitchen, because you couldn't go to a restaurant or a takeaway or whatever the case may be. You had to make something yourself, and that is a real good thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's lots of people joining, lots of people saying about how important it is for kids to learn how to cook and get healthy food in them and things like that. So if you're kind of happy to go on about the cake that you've made for us today.
Yes, absolutely. So like I say, so literally the pumpkins, the large pumpkins, people often say that you can't eat them. You can eat them. People eat them all the time. They are very big. They can be quite watery. But if you make it into soup, or we can do something like this. So literally, like I say, look on the YouTube channel later or tomorrow. It'll be up there. But essentially, you get your pumpkin, take some out. You're going to grate it. And then literally some eggs and sultanas. And we've got some mixed spice in there. So it's all a little bit spicy. try to think of some sugar and some butter and, you know, etc. Mix it around about half an hour. When it comes out of the oven, it's just, you put some orange juice, orange zest and juice in there as well. Squirt some orange juice over it when it's hot, because that kind of soaks in, makes it nice and moist. Also makes a frosting. Who doesn't love frosting? Marvellous. So in here, we've got some cream cheese, and there's some softened butter in there, and some orange zest and orange juice and some icing sugar. And then we have an amazing kind of orange flavoured topping. It's essentially, you can also not just pumpkin, if you're not into pumpkin or you haven't got any pumpkin, you can use butternut squash. It kind of adds a sweetness to the whole thing. So that's fine. So literally, I could move the camera down, I suppose, but you literally just put some on. I'm going to move my camera down just slightly, or my phone down. You can see. You can't see still.
Oh, a little bit more, yeah.
There
we
go.
are, that's perfect.
Hey, just because I'm in only half the screen. So yeah, so literally just plonk it on. It's all nice and cold. I made it earlier. Smooth it over, and it's such a waste to throw away the pumpkin, because it's such great source of, you know, it is a real waste, and that's a real big thing as well, isn't it? It's about food waste and trying not to have food waste. I've actually made two, so I'm taking one home and leaving one for my colleagues here tomorrow. So I'm sure they'll be happy. But when you cut into it, it's such a nice cake. It's really dead simple. I think it probably took me 10 minutes just to kind of put it together, and then another half an hour to actually bake it. If you are baking it, just so you know, pumpkins and sweet potato and whatever you're going to use have different water content. So although it's half an hour cooking, it might take a little bit longer, just because, you know, it's got more water in, etc. But let's see if I can take a piece out successfully. There we go. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
I won't taste anything, otherwise I'm going to get it all over my face and it'll be really embarrassing. But yeah, all good. But
so it's pretty simple. It's just the pumpkin.
It's dead simple. But this is the thing with cooking, and I had this conversation with my class today. I taught lots of year 11, and yesterday taught lots of year 11 yesterday about healthy eating and eating for exams and eating for your brain. And all the rest of it is that when you make something yourself, you know what's in it, you know. And if you look at any fast food or any sort of peel back the lid stuff, if you look at the ingredients, it's horrendous. There literally would be 20, 30 ingredients on that list. But if you make it yourself, you know what you're eating, you know the quality of the produce, you know. And to be honest, this is not revolutionary, but people don't tend to say this. You know, you see on the internet, or Jamie Oliver saying that if you make it yourself, it's cheaper and it's just the same speed. It really isn't. Let's be honest. If you're making food yourself, it does tend to cost more and it does take more time. But the benefit is you know exactly what's in it. You know, so this has got, I don't know, about 10 ingredients. But if I bought an equivalent in a shop, looking at 30 ingredients, and none of them are natural, and they're all kind of full of chemicals, and you really have to question: is that something that you want to? You know, you want to put inside your body, because it could be fairly negative, I would suggest.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think there's a lot of school kids. They're coming up. It's like mock season now, isn't it? So we've got a lot of kids trying to feed not only their bodies but their brains. And I don't want to be the first person to say it, but we have got Christmas just around the corner.
Yes.
Now. I feel that I can say it, that we're in November. Absolutely. So obviously, you're talking about cooking food from scratch. Making your own things. Is there anything that you'll be doing this Christmas, or teaching your students how to make that's simple and easy and good for you?
Okay, I mean, yeah, okay. So, well, simple and easy, not good for you. Let's be honest. Christmas is not a time, particularly to go for salads. Let's be honest. So so we always, my scheme of work, we kind of do a rotation. My scheme of work would more or less be the same, but there are some seasonal variations. So this term, we do some gingerbread, which is always fun, really simple. Kids can ice it, etc. So we will do some gingerbread in class, which is always fun. I always want to do mince pies, but all the kids don't seem to like mince pies, so we don't tend to do them for whatever reason. I love mince pies, but yeah, so that's what we're doing this year.
So obviously we've got Bake Off at the moment. We're coming into the I think it's the quarter semi-finals, would you say?
Yeah, I don't know, no idea. But yeah.
And people are trying to give baking a go on their own. I mean, I've recently tried my first attempt at pastry, and as my family will probably back me up, it wasn't the most successful.
Okay.
So have you got any tips for first-time bakers or people that are trying to get into cooking that's more than just a quick pasta dish or
Sure,
something?
I think, yeah, sure. I think you need to really read the recipe probably twice before you even start, right? Because often you kind of get halfway down the recipe and you think, oh, I missed that, or it's got to be put in the fridge, or it's got to be simmered for an hour, and you didn't realise that. So read the recipe twice, and if it goes wrong, don't worry about it. You need to then try again. Cooking, it is so important, cooking skills and learning the basics, but you won't learn unless you make some mistakes. Everyone does. If it goes wrong, then you try it again. I'm sure my wife is watching this, but she always laughs. For whatever reason, I have a real struggle with mashed potato and gravy. Well, I mean, what a weird mixture. But it just always goes wrong. The gravy, I know I sort of cheat in the granules, because it's whatever, but make it too thick, make it too thin, it's lumpy. Mashed potato, make it too wet, or it's too stiff, or it's a nightmare. So no one is perfect, Tom. There's always kind of an issue, but it is practice. It's just taking your time, reading a recipe at least twice, and then going step by step and being just really, really careful. And things like YouTube, not necessarily my channel, but generally YouTube is really useful, because obviously when you look at a cookbook, that's fine, but you can't, sometimes you need to actually look at someone actually doing it to see, oh, okay, that's what that means, and okay, that's how I do it. So YouTube is great really for learning skills, and even if you just, a real basic one, watch a YouTube video and do it, that kind of follow it along and pause it where necessary is always a good plan, I would suggest.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, I know you teach older kids, you're working at a secondary school, but if there's any parents that are watching, or, mums and dads that want to kind of get their kids more involved in the kitchen, if they've got a younger kid, how do you kind of build up their confidence with using utensils and the oven and stuff?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what that's about is not, it's kind of making sure that the child is in the kitchen with you and just helping out. Oh, can you get me that? Can you get me a peeler? Can you get me a grater? Whatever. Just so they get to know the equipment, and then starting to get them involved. I mean, to be honest, we have students here who literally will come in and have done no cooking at all, because the magic fairy comes in at a certain time at night and puts food on their lap, and then the magic fairy takes it away again, and they have no comprehension of how it happened, how things are washed up, and even things like washing up. So I did recently, year 7 did a homework for me, and it was really simple, but take 3 pictures of you washing up. So one of the stuff before, one during, and one after. Now I've got loads of emails from my parents saying, thank you, we love that homework. But it's really simple, get them to wash up, because it's something we're going to need to learn at some point anyway. So just get them in the kitchen, even them just watching, help them peel the potatoes, help them do, the veg or whatever you have, just to show them the odd thing here and there. And as time goes on, they would get to know more and then get more involved. Everyone needs to learn how to cook. Very few people are able to eat out all the time, or get someone to do it for them. You need to know how to do it, because, it's one of life's necessities.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we got some people commenting there saying that the washing up was some good homework. So I think every parent loves that one. But like you said, everyone needs to cook, and think of it as a chore or just to live. We all need to eat. But cooking can be fun, and a lot of people do enjoy cooking, or at least eating the finished product.
No, absolutely. That's right, yeah.
What's your favorite recipe? What's your favorite thing to make?
Oh, you know what? I get asked this all the time. It's weird. I don't really have a favorite recipe. I mean, I don't know if I generally didn't ask this, but I'm quite a bit of a meat eater. I quite like steak if I go to a restaurant or whatever the case may be. Yeah, I don't really have anything. I just enjoy. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy the process of cooking. I mean, I'll be honest. When I was a chef and think back, I didn't particularly enjoy that process, because it's extremely long hours and it's extremely intensive and it's very hot on a very prolonged basis. But this job now, obviously a variation, is teaching cooking, is great. I absolutely I absolutely love it. And it's, you know, and when the kids come in with a bag of ingredients and walk out with a product that they're really happy with and want to show their friends and maybe say, oh, can I take a picture to show my mum? That's great. And that's what it's all about.
Brilliant. I mean, talking about, you know, teaching, is there a particular recipe that does really well? Have you got a favourite? Have your students got a favourite?
Okay, I was trying to think. Okay, well, I mean, standard. You know, all the students like making brownies, obviously, because it's like chocolate, and we're a girls' school, so obviously. But there are things, yeah. So things like today, as it happens, we made rock cakes.
Oh,
So year eight made rock cakes. Really, really old-fashioned, really, you know, kind of standard recipe. But loads of skills in there, like rubbing in and sort of, you know, putting in the oven, taking out the oven, weighing, etc., etc. And lots of students often will say, oh, I don't like dried fruit, can I put chocolate? Well, knows the answer, you can't put chocolate, it's dried fruit or it's kind of nothing. So they do that, and when they have it, they love it. You know, it's really, you know, it's one of those things that actually, oh, I don't like that, but actually they do like it. Yeah, that's probably the major one. I try and do food which I know students will like, but particularly in the early years, all the recipes have skills and kind of linked to them, and they have a point.
yeah.
So, you know, I make things like fruit salad, which is very twee, I know, very kind of simple, but that's about using a knife and being tidy and hygiene. You know, we do. I'm trying to think now, like make a soup, which is again chopping skills and using the top of the cooker, etc., etc. So it's like layering of skills that we try to do. So when they're leaving year 9, they would have cooked 29 times over those 3 years, and they would have not just those dishes that they know how to cook, but the skills that underpin those dishes, which is really important as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, talking about the different recipes you've been cooking and teaching for a while now, have you seen a lot change in the cooking industry? Have there been new skills, new recipes, or has it always kind of been the same?
I mean, the restaurant scene and the food scene is changing definitely. You know, tastes and flavours evolve. I mean, the things like I say, the things that I try and do are quite fairly basic, but like I say, will have a point to them, and kind of have been people have eaten them for like 50, 60 years. Like rock cakes are ancient. You know, people have been eating them for like 100 years or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, there are changes in the restaurant industry, absolutely, and flavours and trends change, and styles on plates. If you go to a posh restaurant, would change. You know, at one point it was all kind of flavoured foams and things like that, and other times it was all micro herbs and all this kind of thing, and that's great, and all that things changes. But you know, for the cook at home, it's obviously a different, you know, a kind of a different experience, isn't it, than going to some posh restaurant.
Definitely. I mean, we're kind of running out of time now, but just quickly, if I don't know how it works at your school, but I remember when I was at school doing cooking, you choose it as one of your options, then you decide if you want to do it at GCSE. If there's any students going into secondary school or parents unsure what they want their children to do, why do you think cooking is such an important lesson to learn?
Okay, well, cooking is so important because it's not just putting something in the oven and cooking it. It's again all the skills that underpin it. So we have numeracy when they working out the time, and they're working out time plans, and they're weighing, and there's an element of art and design in there because when they're putting things on a plate, if they're designing that, we have literacy in there as well because they're looking at recipes and and kind of working out the flow of a recipe. There's loads of things. Cooking is not just cooking. It's not just chopping up something and sticking it on in the saucepan and cooking it and then eating it. It's so much more than that. It's health and safety. It's hygiene. It's known about bacteria and food poisoning and keeping yourself and other people safe. And like I say, it's a skill for life. It's something that every single person will need at virtually every point in their life as soon as they move out of home or before, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, of course, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. I really appreciate you making that cake for us and showing us how
No
to make
problem.
it. I am quite upset that I don't get to
I'm
taste
gonna
it.
say,
But
I'll tell you
hopefully
what
your
it tastes
colleagues
like.
will
I
love
will.
it.
I'll tell you what it tastes like later.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time, and
No
thank you
problem.
everyone who's watched. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's been nice to have something a bit different on the show. So thank you to everyone that's been here, and sadly that's all we've got time for tonight. But we will be back again next week with another very special guest. So thank you all, and thank you very much, Mr Dix.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.